Hello, my name is Peter Parfitt and welcome to New Brick Workshop. I'm starting a new project. I'm going to build a hall table. Now technically I have started already, and you may have seen a recent video I made about a little gadget to make it easier to do start and stop work on a router table, and that was to do the legs. Well, here are the legs. They're finished, all four of them, and I'm really pleased with the results. And so look at my previous video, which shows how to make a start and stop jig for a router table. And some of the other stock I've prepared includes some of the rails, and you can see I've put a little rounded detail here. And that was done with a cutter which I've had for many years, but I haven't used it a lot. And you can probably see the shape there. And it's a lovely little cutter for doing this sort of detailed work. And if I show you, this will be rails at the top sides, and I've got that detail there. It'll just make it slightly more interesting, at least I think it will, with any luck. Now, I'm just interrupting this video now because there's been a couple of things. One is a bit of a whoopsie, which I will explain and own up to, and the other is a design change for the hall table. So at the appropriate point, I'll come back in again and give you the live update. Now for the top of the table, I've decided to use this piece of mahogany which came from an old Pembroke table. The table had rotten legs, and so I saved the top and the two flaps. I've used the flaps years ago, but the top from the table is still pretty good. There are some little marks on it, distress marks, but I'm not worried about that. But the reason I'm particularly keen to use this top is because it's one solid piece of mahogany. But it's not very thick. It's probably only about 15 millimeters thick. And it's got a slight cup to it. It's not very much, just a slight cup to it. And I have to find a way of correcting that. I could have put it through a huge planing machine if I had one. I could have asked a friend of mine to put it through his very amazing sander. But I've decided on another route, which is to try and flatten it. Now it needs such a small amount to get it flat that it's not a huge amount of stress that will be applied to this piece of wood. And the other thing I'm going to do, the drawer is going to have a hidden mechanism, and this is one of these mechanisms which fits underneath the drawer. There'll be a pair of these, and the mechanism will be completely out of sight once it's installed. And I'm rather pleased to be using these. These came from Accuride, by the way, and I'll put the part number on the video at the appropriate time. Now, I don't normally show the sort of detail which is here, and this is my notebook where I'm keeping track of the stock that I'm using and what things I've already created, etc. And from my plan, which as I said I will make available in due course, I've written down the main components, and I've given those that I've actually made the wood up for so far a letter A, B, C, D and E. And for example, this piece of wood here is a piece with a D on it, and that will be for one of the back rails. There are two rails at the back. And similarly, I've marked the tops of my legs. This is really important, so I know which legs are going at the back, which are going at the front, which is on the left and which is on the right. You may or may not be able to see I've written front there and there, back there and there, and I've drawn a little sort of rectangle there, which allows me to determine that these two are the left-hand pair of legs and these are the right-hand pair of legs. And that means that the side piece for this pair would go in here, like so, and similarly the side piece for the other side would go in here. So it's important now to work out where the domino slots are going to be put, and in particular which will be the reference face which the plate of the domino will rest on as the slots are being cut. So knowing that I've got domino slots going in here, and knowing that these are the outside faces of this side, I can now open this out like so, And these are now the opposing faces. And this is the outside face, and that's the outside face. So what I'm going to do is, I know I'm going to put 2 domino slots. I'm going to put a little yellow mark there and there. And similarly, I'll put a little yellow mark there and there. Now, these yellow marks won't be seen when everything is finished because they do not go beyond the place where the side pieces are going to be put. But note that this is the outside face here, and this is the outside face here. And I've biased the marks off the centre to indicate that the side nearest the mark is the reference face when I'm going to do the domino joint. Now I've splayed these legs out like that so you can see both inner faces. And at the front we're going to have one above and one below the drawer, something like that. So now it's important that I make it obvious to myself where the domino slot should go in these faces and on this other side in these faces. Because I must tell you, there's nothing worse than getting a domino slot misaligned when you're at that stage of putting everything together, perhaps even with some glue floating around in the equation, and then you find you've got a slot in the wrong place. Now, I really wasn't happy with the quality of the wood that I was using on these wider rails. So what I've done is I've taken part of what was the original rail and veneered it. And I've then added a piece top and bottom to form a contrast. So these side rails I think will look quite nice. And I intend that the drawer front will be just like this maple veneered part here. And the only unfortunate thing is that the veneering process, that bit of video, I accidentally deleted it. My camera puts a number on each bit of video that's filmed, you know, 000, 2, 3, etc. And when it gets to 99999, it starts again. And what I hadn't realised when I sorted it all out was that I was overwriting video I'd already done. So I've not got this bit on the veneering of this, but it was dead simple. I will explain it. What I did was I took my piece of wood, made sure the surface was clean and dry, and nice and flat and smooth. And I then got my veneer and cut it approximately to size, so it was actually overhanging in all 4 edges. I then, using a roller, put on some of this tight bond veneer adhesive. And this is a big bottle which I got from Axminster actually a long time ago, and I've kept it at an even temperature, not allowing it to get below freezing or anything silly like that, and it's perfectly good now. All you've got to remember is to give it a good shake before you use it. I put it on with a roller. And with the roller, I put some onto both the underside of the veneer and also onto the top of the piece of wood. And I was doing 2 at a time, so I was able to sandwich one on top of the other with greaseproof paper in between. It was a larger piece than this, like so, and then I clamped it. So that the 2 pieces of wood, because they're fairly thick, were able to spread the load of the clamps. I think I had about 8 clamps, small clamps on here, keeping it pressed flat. And there you see the finish effect. And this is quite an interesting grain, and once I use some Osmo on this, that will bring this grain to life and it'll be absolutely super. And I'm going to use the same technique for the drawer front. And the only difference being that the piece of wood that I'll use for the front, I'm going to have a solid wood maple edging put onto it before putting the veneer on. And that way the edge of veneer goes over that maple lipping and it will make it stronger and also make it look better. Now, prior to assembling these into the 2 end frames, I'm going to put a coat of Osmo on these in-between pieces. And the reason is quite simple. What I want to try and avoid is when I glue things together, I don't want glue soaking into the parts of the wood which would then be permanently in there, and it would show when I then try and do the finish. So by doing a bit of finish first, I'll overcome that problem. Now these 2 pieces are going to be glued at the ends, and so what I want to do is coat the 3 faces that will show they will be in the side here. So it's this face, and the face underneath for both of them with some Osmo. And these pieces, these other pieces, are going to be either side of the veneered piece. So I'm only going to do those faces there and this face here. Now I've stirred my Osmo, and this is the Osmo PolyX gloss, and it is 3011, and it's clear gloss. Just going to extricate my stirring stick, and now I can make a start. And I'm brushing this on, and I'm going to just leave it as a brushed on coat at this stage. Now I'm doing my best not to get any on the other faces here, because those other faces are going to be part and parcel of the gluing operation. And remember, this initial coat of Osmo is just to protect the wood from the glue. And incidentally, for those people who live in the UK, this bit of protective cloth that I've got here, I've actually got about 2 meters of it, came from Dunelm, and it was about £4 a metre. And it's really useful to keep the worst of the spills or accidents off the bench tops. And I said I'd own up to a couple of whoopsies, and they're all to do with using the domino machine, and I didn't get the height right. And so when I first did this leg up here, I got the height wrong. But to correct it, it's dead easy. All you do is you glue into the domino slots, a couple of dominoes, cut them off flush, let the glue dry, and then put the domino slots back where you need them. And in my case, luckily, these odd bits will not show. And the same was true on this one. When I got that in, it was just slightly out, and so I put a domino in there, let it dry, and then redid that domino joint.